Welcome to the Tool Review channel. Today we're taking a look at the Knipex 9526-165 cable cutters. Now, as you can see here, these are the 1000-volt rated VDE version of this specific pair of pliers that Knipex has to offer. Now, I did do a review of the non-insulated version of this plier before, but thought I would do a review of this pair as well. So to start off the video here, as you can see, you have your model number right there. It's 9526-165, and this is the capacity of wire that you can cut with these. So you can cut up to 15 to 50 millimeters squared wire, and it's obviously it cuts copper and aluminum wire. You have all your safety ratings down here, so you got your VDE approval and your 1000-volt rated approval right there as well. And then coming down to here, you have the made in Germany as well, and you have the year the tool was produced. As you can see, this tool was produced in 2019. Now, this is the spring-loaded version of this pair of cable cutters. You can see it is in the chrome-plated finish. You have the Knipex name. I believe it is stamped into the surface of the plier. And then you have your little locking tab right there that holds the tool from springing open. And then another cool feature about this tool is you have this adjustment screw up here, which I actually had to use when I got this pair of pliers because they were super stiff and they barely wanted to open. So if your plier is super stiff, you can just adjust that little screw right there and it will loosen up the tension on the spring. We'll take a look at the handles right here. So this is the other side. As you can see, it's the standard yellow and red marking that almost all VDE tools carry to show that they're 1000-volt insulated. And you can see they have the Knipex name right there. And I do find that these are some of the most comfortable handles that are on a pair of pliers that are out there. I actually prefer these more than I prefer the Knipex Comfort Grip. I just feel like these are a little bit softer and they just feel a lot better in your hands. And then coming to the back side, obviously the cutter is not designed for cutting steel wire, so don't try and do it because you're going to end up damaging the cutting edge. And then you have your barcode down here as well. Now, if we open up that spring on the pliers, you got some more markings on the inside of your handle, made in Germany. You got some more safety ratings right there as well. And then your more certifications right there as well, which is nice. But as you can see, this tool is spring-loaded, which is nice. So after you make your cut, you just loosen up and it opens back up. Instead of you having to open up the tool, the spring will open it up for you, which is super nice. So we'll go ahead and zoom out there. As you can see, it fits fairly well in your hand. And it's super nice, I do have to say. So now we're going to get to testing the cutting edge on the tool and see what we can cut with it. So we're going to first start off with some 18-gauge solid wire. Obviously, these pliers should cut through it no problem. Now, one thing to note about these before we get to the cutting part, and one thing to note about these chrome-plated tools is they chrome plate them after they sharpen the edge on them. Obviously, they chrome plate it for a reason, and they don't want to destroy that chrome plating. So one thing about the chrome plated tools is they chrome plate it after the stuff's been sharpened, so it does add a little bit of material to the cutting edge. So if you're cutting through some really thick wire, you might struggle a little bit more with chrome plated than if you were to have the black oxide finish tools. So that's one thing to note. So now we'll get to some of the cutting. So as you can see right there, cuts through that 18-gauge solid wire, no problem. So go ahead and put that off to the side, and we'll bring in some 14-gauge stranded wire, and we'll see how well we can cut through this. So as you can see right there, cuts through that 14-gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. Sorry about the camera shaking there. So we'll go ahead and set that off to the side, and we'll bring in some 12-gauge stranded wire, and we'll go ahead and cut through that right there. And as you can see, cuts through that 12-gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. So go ahead and set that off to the side. And we'll bring in our 10-gauge stranded wire, and we'll go at this. And as you can see right there, you're able to cut through that 10-gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. So go ahead and put that off to the side, and we will bring in some 18.5 thermostat wire. So for those of you that don't know what thermostat wire is, this is basically 5 18-gauge wires in here, which typically used to wire up a thermostat. We'll go ahead and cut through that, no problem. And as you can see, cut through that wire, those 5 wires, honestly, no problem. So go ahead and set that off to the side, and we'll bring in our 14.2 with ground Romex wire and see how well we can cut through this. And as you can see right there, we are able to cut through that Romex wire, no problem whatsoever. So we'll go ahead and put that off to the side, and we'll bring in our final wire, which is the 12.2 with ground Romex wire. And we'll see how well we can cut through this. And as you can see, you can do it one-handed, cut through it, no problem whatsoever. which cuts through it super, pretty easy, I do have to say. So we'll go ahead and get all that wire and stuff cleaned out of the background right there. So overall, these are definitely a nice pair of pliers that Knipex has to offer. Now, if you are wanting to get these in the VDE handles, this is the only pair you can get right here, is in the chrome plated. I'm not really sure why Knipex does that, but this is the only variation of the tool you can get with the spring that comes with the VDE handles. Now, if you don't want the spring-loaded version, you can get I believe they make one with chrome plated, and it's just a standard cutter, and they also make one in the black atomized, or I believe it's black atomized, whatever they call it. It's just a black oxide coating on there. You can get that as well with the VDE handles. They're just not going to be spring-loaded. For some reason, Knipex only offers this tool with the spring-loaded with the chrome-plated, and it's definitely not a cheap tool, but as you can see, it's definitely a nice high-quality tool. Like all the tools Knipex makes are a nice high-quality tool that they have to offer, and these definitely get the job done. Especially with the VDE handles, if you're working around something that has the potential to come live, or you're working in a panel that has other live wires around it, and you may be replacing or cutting something, messing with a breaker, or doing whatever you need to do. This is obviously going to protect you just in case you accidentally nick a wire. It should protect you. Obviously has 1000 volt rated in the VDE ratings on it. So with that being said, that's kind of about it for this review. So if you are new to the channel and you do enjoy this content, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. I will also leave a couple links to where you can purchase a specific pair of cable cutters in the description below if you would like to head over there and pick them up for yourself. But that's kind of about it for this video, so thank you for watching, and as always, stay tuned for the next video to be uploaded.